Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play AEW Fight Forever. I'm the Mysterious JG. Guess I got a little salty and pissy, maybe even a little whiny in that last video. But it introduced a game mechanic which isn't a lot of fun. A storyline where you just get triple teamed. I'm thinking back to, like, way back in the day, Bobo and it was like, I think it was whatever the PS1 WCW game was. It had a couple of WCW and NWO characters. But then it also threw in, like, just random, weird, created characters, like Big Frank, who was a Frankenstein monster, and Ecto, who was a giant ghost monster. And all these weird things would happen. And there was a mode, and I think you could go on the options and turn this off. There was a run-in mode, where you could be doing a match, and wrestlers would run in. The same thing used to happen in, like, the SNES WWE game. I remember it was Royal Rumble, or whichever one came right after Royal Rumble, right before Royal Rumble, where you win the Royal Rumble by just choking and eye gouging, basically. But yeah, there was a mechanic where a wrestler would just come out and sometimes fight for you, sometimes fight for your opponent, but there was a random factor that made it funny. Like, you'd be right in the middle of, like, Lex Luger versus Yokozuna, and suddenly Doink would come out and start attacking Yokozuna if you were playing as Yokozuna. Or Doink would come out and start attacking Lex Luger if you were playing as Lex Luger. And it was random and weird, and at least it made you laugh. This is just like, no, the game has engineered a storyline where you're going to be in a one-on-one match. It's not even a three-on-one handicap match. I don't think I would have won by pinning Penta or Ray. It was a one-on-one match in which the referee just let the other two members of Death Triangle come in and, like, constantly be there with no counts or anything. It didn't make sense. There was a charm and a weird randomness in the old games where there was no storyline. It was just an exhibition wrestling match where a random character would come in and just be in the match. And the other thing is, I don't remember either of those games having a ref as a figure. It's just like an off-screen count would begin if somebody was pinned. But in this game, there's an actual ref that's walking around, and they're just ignoring this. And I'm even more frustrated because I came so close to actually winning by countout, which would have felt so good. It wouldn't have made this a fun game mechanic. It still would have been stupid as hell. But whatever. So I guess our perfect record is ended, which means I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to get stressed if I lose a match. I still am going to have a huge amount of stress about any of the Young Bucks minigames, because JR has basically told me my personal self-worth is based on my success in those minigames. Can't lose. But as far as matches go, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, although he's not carrying the AEW title around, he hasn't shown it off in any way. I mean, am I crazy? In storylines, Bobo's the AEW champion, right? They've kind of forgotten about that, but it's still happening, isn't it? And maybe we'll get some elucidation after the pay-per-view. What a great pay-per-view that was, too. Best Full Gear ever. Now, Pac is victorious at Full Gear, but he wasn't! He wasn't! He didn't win! Alright, well, they didn't have anything written for that. I guess there's probably dialogue if you manage to score a win, but... and I missed whatever he was saying about... Yeah, it's a defeat. We didn't lose, though. It was a draw. The game is not equipped for the mind-blowing possibility of a count-out. Honestly, I'm surprised. It was supposed to be a lights-out match. I don't know why there were count-outs to begin with. I'm glad there was, because the only alternative would be I would have been pinned eventually. There's just no way. I would, like... Because no matter what I did, I was never going to get all three guys just completely knocked out so that I could get a win. If I got Pac with a finisher, the other two would have broken it up. So I guess I should be happy countouts were a possibility, but it appears that the game designers did not think this through at all. They didn't have time. They had to make the Young Bucks memory card minigame. Oh, and we got injured. And we've lost energy, we've lost faith.
When your motivation is high.
Oh my God! As somebody who listens to Jim Cornette's podcast, seeing an image of Adam Cole while they talk about working out, there's an irony there. I am not someone who works out. A lot of people have talked a lot of smack about Adam Cole's physique. It's just weird that he's the guy who appears on screen when they talk about doing workouts, when that's been like a point of contention amongst wrestling fans. Well, I mean, I guess we got things to spend our turns on now. Oh, now we're going to show how if it had been Orange Cassidy, he could have beaten Death Triangle by himself. Yeah, I think if Trent had been there, he would have been about as useful as he's being here. So this was a brief period where the Death Triangle were being pushed as a big deal. It's not really a thing that, you know, seems to have lasted. I guess they had that best of 7 series against the Young Bucks for the Trios title back before the Young Bucks lost interest. Or the Elite, excuse me. Kenny was there too.
Listen up, scumbags!
Ooh.
We are Death Triangle!
Maybe he's not a pirate, but... I said, amigo, I do speak Spanish after all. This terrible game! It's your fault!
Nobody is safe.
Ooh. At any moment, these guys could come to your house and challenge you to a one-on-one match where all 3 will actually be involved. But this just feels like any random episode they might have... Like, this doesn't feel like AEW history. It just feels like this is how Dynamite ended one week, and, like, the next week they got beaten by these guys in some kind of comeuppance match. Like, this is not like, you know, Randy Savage proposing to Elizabeth or, you know, whatever. Block 3A, exploding barbed wire death match. Who knows what block we would have gotten had we won that match, but, yeah, again, who knows? I don't. I'm not sure that I care too much. But yeah, Death Triangle beating up Orange Cassidy is not like, it's not like, you know, Sergeant Slaughter desecrating a Hulkamania flag or whatever the hell. Like, we wanted to say he desecrated American flag, but we kind of pussed out at the last minute, so let's say he desecrated a Hulkamania shirt. I'm making fun of the historical moments that I'm saying are more significant than the AEW historical moments. Anyway, we are exhausted from so much air travel. Also, we got injured because there was a match on pay-per-view where 3 guys just came in and beat us up for several minutes, and the referee just didn't do anything about it. So that also tired us out. Oh, well. Morning talk show in Toronto. And Kenny Omega's like, man, what's wrong with you? I would have totally beaten all those guys by myself. We have 2 big stars from All Elite Wrestling here, Kenny Omega and Boba the Vulture. Welcome, honored guests. It's the same talk show host from before. Happy to be here. Kenny, you're looking a little bit more like a human being than Britt Baker did. Well, not much, though. Jesus. Am I sure that's Kenny Omega? Yeah, it is. Feels great to be back here in Canada. No, Kenny, AEW's Big Revolution show is weeks away. I remember you had a wild match during 2021's Revolution, right? Yes, I beat John Moxley in what I called an exploding barbed wire death match to retain the AEW World Championship. Wait, we're the world champion! What the hell, game? What? You can't just... No, he can't just be the world champion. We're the world champion. He didn't beat us for it. We've never wrestled him. What is going on with this story mode? Are we the world champion or not? Anyway, the exploding barbed wire death match is like one of the all-time great fucking stupid things in wrestling history, which is saying a lot. So they booked this match where it was going to be John Moxley versus Kenny Omega in an exploding barbed wire death match. And it was marketed as like the ring is... There are explosives all over the ring, and after the countdown, the ring is going to explode. Like, literal explosions. And they kept talking, like, the commentators were like, this is the most insane thing you'll ever see in your life. And there were people on the wrestling internet who were like, what the fuck? Like, what is this going to be? This, you know, because this kind of thing has been marketed in Japan. And it can be extremely dangerous, but basically it consists of like pyrotechnics, but it's not like a full-scale exploding cage. It's like they have these little pyrotechnic explosions go off. It almost always comes off looking lame as fuck when you try to do something like this. But anyway, they did it, and the big storyline ending angle was that because of the evil Elite, at that time the Elite were bad guys, and I guess they all worked together and cheated or whatever and laid Jon Moxley out. And he's left in the cage when the countdown's going off, and he's unconscious, and he's not going to be able to escape before it explodes, and oh my god. And then Eddie Kingston, who was like Jon Moxley's rival / ally, ran out and covered Jon Moxley with his body to protect him, and it was supposed to be this dramatic moment. But then the pyro just like fizzled. So this big explosion just turned into like nothing. And it was pretty clearly unintentional, because like the next week they kind of scrambled, and the storyline was that the Elite knew that it wasn't going to go off and that it had all been a big joke, and they put one over on the fans. But what makes it like just insane, because I don't usually follow wrestling Twitter, but I'll hear about the crazier things that are being said, is Tony Khan, who owns and promotes AEW, was really upset at the negative fan reaction to his exploding barbed wire death match, where the cage didn't explode at the end. And his response to fans, well, what were you expecting? You didn't think we were going to really be able to explode the cage, did you? Which was mind-numbing to me, because there are still people who defend this guy, and I'm like, you marketed an exploding barbed wire death match, and when it sucked, you told us you should have expected that. There was no way we could have delivered you what we promised you. It's your fault. I think I would be going off on this even if I hadn't just had the 3-on-1 handicap match against Death Triangle in the storyline that was, hey, do you want to join us? Sure. You can't. 3-way match. Or 3-on-1 match. But yeah, Kenny Omega, he beat Jon Moxley in exploding barbed wire death match. But that's not the whole story, is it, Kenny? You're leaving out the part where I'm the AEW champion, and in this reality, that match never happened. Excuse you? You and Mox had a chance to make history. You fizzled out. Oh, they actually are acknowledging the fact that the match sucked. So I'm going to one-up you guys by competing in my own exploding barbed wire death match at Revolution. This is going to be me in there by myself. I'm just going to go in there and make sure the cage explodes for real, and I'm going to die to satisfy our great AEW fans. Oh, you think so? Where do you get off making that call? You know, I'm an executive vice president. You're just some created wrestler. What does it matter? I just made it on live TV. Yeah, because everybody gets to make their own matches. It's like they're making, and this is the thing that drives Jim Cornette nuts when I listen to his podcast. Sometimes I'm okay with it, sometimes I'm not. They make fun of the logical inconsistencies of wrestling. Drives Jim Cornette batty because he thinks that even though there are obviously aspects of it with suspension of disbelief, you're supposed to make it realistic. But the fact that like any wrestler can come out at any time and just declare they're going to wrestle some guy next week, and it almost always happens, even though there's no logical way they should have the power to book matches, they're just making fun of it here. So, I mean, you decide whether you like that or dislike it, but they're being incredibly cutesy in this story mode. You little punk. You don't go and try to show me up in my home country. Try, I just did. But your ass is still glued to that chair, not doing a damn. Let's get to commercial immediately. Oh my god, this is so intense. I never could have expected the two wrestlers on the show would have shown each other open hostility. Anyway, we are injured. We have low motivation. We've got things to work on before we can worry about exploding Kenny Omega in a barbed wire cage. The Canadian crew neck. It's cold, so wear layers with this shirt on top. Alright. So we can go to the hospital. Spend some money on special treatment. Honestly, we didn't really need special treatment. Just regular would have been fine because we got enough turns to get the energy back. Wow, I feel great. Socialized medicine's awesome. Complete. Because he's in Canada, you see. So we have recovered from our injury. Let's see, 2,300 still. Let's go ahead and do another match, and we'll do Rampage. And probably be told who we're wrestling on Rampage after we go visit them at a restaurant later. It's Luchasaurus. Why wouldn't it be Luchasaurus? Our ongoing feud with Luchasaurus here, the guy who just shows up when we're trying to have a feud with Death Triangle. It does appear like we are well and truly done with the Death Triangle storyline, though. That was block 2 something. We are now on block 3A. So, like, you know, we're looking for revenge against Death Triangle? Not gonna happen. Oh, I didn't notice our singles record. I'll have to go back and check later.
Here's what you need to know about.
Ooh, chain wrestling is back and forth. Oh, okay. If you both grapple at the same time, you enter in a rock, paper, scissors nonsense. So I don't feel the need to get good at this because it barely ever comes up. Alright, see if I can... I'm too slow to really... There we go. Ow! Oh, well. It's probably a mistake to try to get any top rope offense. I just thought it might be fun. Should have known better than to have fun with this game. I'm having fun with this game. I've had a couple of things happen in this session that were particularly stupid, but... Okay, so he just gets to counter all day. I thought that might be a thing they periodically get to do. Now that I talk about it, it makes sense that it would be a ongoing thing. This match is lasting an eternity by AEW standards. Well, by AEW Fight Forever standards, I should say. I really am kind of messing this up here. Maybe I'm off my game because of the recent hardships. Let's pull it together. JG still got this. Bobo the Vulture's still the AEW champion, we think. Fans are chanting for Luchasaurus now that he's about to lose. That's takes some comfort in that game mechanics return. The "you are about to lose" chant. We know no actual knowledge of what match evaluation is based on. I got a 7-star match once that went back and forth in exhibition mode. So I guess just dominating a match doesn't get you a good score. The strength of Luchasaurus is overwhelming. It's just... It's like this... Never mind. I'm trying to reference something that... Something about the stench being overbearing. Bobo the Vulture will remember. First the morning show, now Rampage. Everything's coming up Millhouse for... What the fuck does that mean? Let's put Simpsons references in our wrestling game. Why wouldn't you do that? Everything's coming up Millhouse for Bobo the Vulture. Ay, caramba. Alright, well now, there's no, we have no reason to eat, as odd as that sounds. We've already been on a TV talk show. I guess we could go back on the talk show and try to apologize to Kenny Omega. I mean, should we work out? No, well, we've got no chance of getting injured. I guess we work out. I keep changing my mind on whether I want to maximize goofy story opportunities or min-max our points. I really should be... I should not be worried about min-maxing our points. Because the match we lost with that ridiculous situation with Death Triangle, I wasn't going to win that by suddenly having, like, 1+ arm power more than I have now. That was not the thing that was controlling that situation. What we'll do is we'll go dining. We'll get that energy back. We'll have normal condition, and we'll work on that later. Then we'll get a match. Then I'll call it a video and probably a session here. Unless it goes really fast. Fry will survive. Restaurant in Toronto. Whoa, I know how love, I know I will survive. Not much longer, I hope. I hope I don't survive much longer. Life is a bleak wasteland of emptiness and suffering. Here's your order of poutine. Canada's signature dish that eats like a meal. Wait, so Canada just has one city? So, like, you know, we got all these cities in America with their own food, but Toronto just collectively represents Canada? Like Calgary's not in the game, or... I look forward to these every time I come back up north. Let me know when you need more napkins. Enjoy. Oh, you don't call them servettes or whatever, you weird, cool, you know, Commonwealth people. Chow down. And no story content at all, but we did learn about French fries and gravy as a combo so nice it could only come from Canada. Topped with proteins or cheese, you'll never look at potatoes the same way. I've never actually had poutine. I'm sure it's delicious. I don't doubt that I would enjoy it. I've never actually had it. I think the cheese curds would weird me out more than the gravy. Anyways, it's time to go to Dynamite, but first let's check our wrestler stats. We should be able to improve something. Let's get even more grapple power. And punches or kicks. Punches or kicks. I mean, I could improve diving power, but I think we've determined that that was probably a foolish thing to put points into. Get better at finishers. $2,500, good enough to do anything we care about here. Boost momentum gains for a brief duration when you receive an explosion. I played around with an explosion match in exhibition mode and just... It was a one-on-one without nonsense with different people interfering, so I was able to basically make it so that my opponent got exploded a million times and I almost never got exploded. Allows you to break an opponent's guard with a strong strike. That might be worth doing. I guess I stomp people a lot. We'll do kicks. Alright. This week on Dynamite, exploding barbed wire cage deathmatch. Jungle Boy. What an incredible thing that we weren't to read. I wonder if they'll actually pay for Jungle Boy's, like, the... He has copyrighted music, but the entrances on this game are so short. I wonder if they'll bother with them. Yeah, they're paying for his copyrighted music, even though they're going to use, like, 4 seconds of it and not even show him entering to it properly. That's just... I guess maybe the licensing... Whatever licensing they had, it was already paid for, so it didn't matter, I suppose. Why am I doing punches when my kicks are so much more powerful? I guess for a minute there, it was like he was going to get something, but... I gotta stop trying to do dives. It never works. And I'm immediately going to go for a dive now that I've got him in the corner, though. Yeah, double axe handle. That's what I got to set up. I thought I had some kind of variable offense buff that I'm not ever seeming to get. Back brain kick. Alright, fine. I was trying to get my signature instead of my finisher, and that was a mistake. But I'll get it now. Well, I'll get it now! I thought I was going to get it when I got him stunned. Ah, well. I just need to actually taunt and get the... Well, here we go. Now I should get it. Clothesline from hell. Michinoku driver. But he's got some... I didn't even go for a pin. He's just got some weird counter stuff. So that almost finished me off. That has finished me before. Like, I get a finisher and they have some kind of... They get a roll-up at it. But I didn't go for a cover. It's just like... No, he got hit by it. He took the damage, but he rolls up anyway. So I'm not really sure what to do as a counter against that. Since the game is really... I'm not at all confident about kicking out of finishers in this game, ever. But he should only get to do that once. Which means this really should be it. We've now beaten all of Jurassic Express, since Marco Stunt is not in this game. Maybe he'll be DLC later in Season 2. I mean, it's possible, I suppose. Congratulations, Jungle Boy, for being the first athlete in the race to reach the... Never mind, you don't get to read that, Mark. Nice dynamite win for BTV, who seems anxious to dabble in literal explosives per a recent TV experience. Also, he has no interest in avenging himself on Death Triangle. Doesn't have a lot of pride for someone who may or may not be the AEW champion. We're on block 3 of 4, guys. We are more than halfway through the story mode. I'm having fun, but man, this is silly. This is just a very, very silly game. I mean, I don't suppose I wanted my wrestling game to be too serious, but... Like, the idea that this kind of thing could go on for, like, a year or more. And if they've got to... Like, that's exactly the kind of game I am looking for. Like, goofy storylines like this. Enough that you're probably not going to see them all in one playthrough. And you'll see the same ones over and over eventually. You know, we all remember Bobo the Vulture formed Nation of Domination. But Mysterious JG, by the time we did his story mode on SmackDown... Here Comes the Pain, I guess it was. We were doing fan voting in a stream, so we became the Hooligans, even though I wanted Mysterious JG's faction to be Ministry of Darkness. That was the same storyline, and we did slightly different things and made it amusing. But the fact that it just didn't end after 4 months was quite nice, so... I guess there's nothing stopping me from playing this story mode over and over and seeing all different things. It's just that you don't get the sense that... It's weird. Maybe this matters to me more than it should. You don't get the sense that you've built up and accomplished a career. It's like you just like it resets. You'll go through the first pay-per-view all over again. You'll get the same historical moments, like CM Punk arrives, even though that didn't happen in year 1. Oh, and here's the time that Death Triangle beat someone up because they were heels for a week, and then they were baby faces again, and they were heels again. Anyway, welcome to Louisville. This shirt will get you lucky in Kentucky. Luckily, there are no wrestling personalities of any note or interest to AEW fans who live in Louisville, so we can move on. I don't know if he actually lives in Louisville, per se. But yeah, Louisville, a city with a lot of wrestling tradition, and not a lot of that tradition AEW related. But when we come back next time, it would appear we are on the path to some kind of exploding barbed wire death match with Kenny Omega, and you know, whatever my complaints have been about the game recently, that does sound like it's going to make for some fun LPing. But I could well be proven wrong. We'll see in the next couple of videos. Oh, by the way, my record is 15-0. So, in no way, shape, or form does this game know what to do about draws. And really, what can any of us do for draws? The poor guy passed away. I apologize, and I'll talk to you next time.